Hi, I'm Heather Scott with the Country Barber Shop, and you are watching Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman on YouTube.
So greetings and welcome to the studio of Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. My name is Peter Updike, and what you just saw there was a slideshow, pictures from the Country Barber. You saw Heather Scott. She is the sole proprietor there at that barbershop in Leesburg, Florida, and the way I came to know her was that she had gotten a hold of a copy of my book, Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. She started reading it, and she felt compelled to contact me via Facebook. And I messaged her right back because she wanted to buy 12 copies of my book so she could sell them there in her barbershop. I was so grateful. She's a sponsor now of Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. And sponsorship gets a free slideshow on the YouTube channel, and I just appreciate it so much. Of course, I'm doing all of this just for fun. I'm not really making any real money at it. I love to hunt and fish and do all things connected, and writing a book was the foundation of that. And I'm just adding to my wild treasures, and that's what it's all about. So if you're in Leesburg or in Lake County and you'd like to go to the Country Barber, she's there on Dixie Avenue in Leesburg. I think you need to make an appointment. She cuts my hair, does a fantastic job. She's got a great staff there. Give them a call. The phone number there is on the slideshow. So ring her up. Anyway, it's kind of going to be a long video tonight. It's already a long one. I got a lot to share. We're going to be at the Turkey Extravaganza, February 3rd in Webster, Florida at True Heart Ranch. I'm going to be there. I have my table set up. Y'all come on by and visit. Just bebop it on your bleep-blopping smartphone and it'll tell you how to get there. Yeah, it's a beautiful drive down through the countryside, and out there's a big old barn, and that event gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Turkey callers, turkey call makers, and craftsmen of all different kinds, and food and fun. And of course, I'll be there to meet you and to sell copies of my book, Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman, and some other things. I usually got a table there. I'm usually the first one you see when you come in the front barn doors, and I'll be there on the left. I hope I get the same spot. Probably will. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that. Again, that's February 3rd, True Heart Ranch, 8 o'clock till, I don't know, 2, 3 o'clock, something like that. Come on by. Anyway, okay, on to the video. I promote and encourage people to hunt public land. And my view is that if I live in Central Florida and I love to hunt, and I don't hunt public land here in Central Florida, then I'm missing out. That I'm cheating myself out of something, regardless of how you feel about public land and public land hunting. That I feel like if you live here or anywhere in the country that you live, and you might live in Miami Beach, right? And you work in Miami and drive all the way to Georgia to go deer hunting and don't take advantage of southern Florida deer hunting and turkey hunting simply because you've got a bad feeling about public land hunting. My view is that you are missing out, that you're cheating yourself. Now, not everyone is wired to be a public land hunter. Some people just want to go hunting and be successful, and I understand that. Some people can't take the time, because time is not available, to invest themselves, as I do, and some of you do. And when I say invest ourselves, that's a real, it's a real thing, that we hunt maybe every weekend, and maybe a weekday here and there. We actually take off from work. We take vacation time for the first 9 days of deer hunting. We get that quota permit. We take time off work so we can hunt all 3 days. We might even sleep in our car or truck at the gate, right? So we can get in there and make the most of the time that we have on public land, because that's what we're about. And I understand that everyone is not that way. This past season has been a kind of an eye-opener for me, and I got a little discouraged, and I've encouraged myself back up again, and that's kind of what I do. I killed a noteworthy buck, I think it was 5 seasons ago. This might be the 6th season. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll say it's 5 seasons ago. I killed a noteworthy buck in the Ocala National Forest, and it was a monument moment for me. That it was a time when it all started making sense, and it charged me so and encouraged me so that I said to myself, and in all honesty, and I think I've been honest from the get-go on this thing, that the reason I killed that noteworthy buck on public land in the heaviest hunted management area in the state, as far as I'm concerned, is because I was, number one, in the right place at the right time. At the right place. It's true, I'll give myself credit for hunting over what I would call a very impressive scrape. Multiple scrapes that were impressive that I found and no one else was hunting. And I did my due diligence to hunt over it with no expectation of ever seeing the buck that made those scrapes. Why? Because I've lived here my whole life and hunted those woods. If you haven't guessed already, we're talking about the Ocala National Forest, and hunted those woods from my youth and only killed, little deer. And I always felt kind of cheated because that's the way it was. And years of experience hunting other places, going here, going there, helped me. Because when the moment came down, I did not fall into the trap of buck fever. That I've killed plenty of deer on public and private land elsewhere. Georgia, Alabama, Florida, public land WMAs, been elk hunting out of Colorado, had a lot of exciting moments that put me on edge, that kind of train your mind and your thought process that this is an exciting thing that we do. And it's liable to put you in a state of mind where things kind of get out of control mentally. Things start happening really fast. And that kind of happened to me, but when that moment came, in just those few seconds, that deer stepped out of the cover and went to the scrape. And I was able to close the deal. I closed that deal because it was already in motion. I didn't have to think about it, right? I don't have to go through it all with you. It's just like a second nature. I was like a machine. I don't want to say I was a machine, but it's like once you started the engine and put it in gear, well, then it's going to go forward, right? And that's exactly what happened. I put a perfect shot on that deer, killed him dead, and I walked up to it, and I found him there in the scrub. I said, holy smokes, look at that buck. And, it all came together, but it was because I was hunting over sign that I had found intentionally, hunting over it over and over and over again intentionally. But what brought that buck to that scrape at 9 o'clock in the morning, I don't know. 70-degree weather. I say all that to say this. When I killed that deer, I said to myself, okay, now the ice is broken. How long will it be? And this is the hard reality of it. How long will it be before I get another one? If I try. Now that I know, how long will it take? Well, 1 year turned to 2. I killed a smaller deer the following year, and then I killed another one. And I decided, I really wasn't helping myself shooting deer that were barely legal. They're legal, but barely legal. And if I want to put meat on the table, that's fine, but I've got another agenda, and that is to kill another 8-point buck, not a 6-point, not a forky, not a little basket rack. I want a 15-inch wide 8-point, and I never came on the YouTube and said that's what I was looking for because it kind of has a feel to it that some people don't like. You're hunting a trophy deer. I'm hunting what I would call a quality, mature buck. All right? And I said to myself, how long will it be before I get another one? Now, every time I go hunting on public land, I look for sign. I look for access. I look for opportunity on that public land. And then I build on that. Sign being tracks, trails, rubs, scrapes, and deer behavior is a big one. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But and I realized this year when I saw a shooter buck that was not a target buck, was not a 15-inch wide 8-point like we're discussing. It was another deer that you better be careful about shooting that deer. He might not be legal. And that's a red flag, right? I don't want to shoot one like that. And I'm convinced, looking back, that the deer was legal. I just hesitated, and then my opportunity slipped away. And I did not get a deer this year. But now that makes 5 seasons where not only have I not gotten that 15-inch wide 8-point that I've kind of been looking for since I did so well on the other, but I haven't even seen one. I haven't even gotten a glimpse, and I have logged hours and hours and hours and days and days and days. And I'm not telling you this to discourage you. I'm telling you this so that you're operating in the realm of reality. along with me. That this is a task set aside for those who are willing to pay the price. And I get messages all the time from guys that say, I watched your video on YouTube about the Ocala National Forest. I never hunted it before. Thought I'd give it a try. And they killed a deer on the first try. And yeah, it wasn't what I was after, but still, they got him a buck. And I'm happy about that. I'm thrilled about it. But I haven't seen my target buck, which is any buck, that's an 8-point, that's out to his ears. And found myself kind of questioning the reality of my thought process. But here's what I know. I don't run trail cameras, but a lot of you do, and you don't hesitate. And there's some guys on YouTube that I follow that post trail camera videos for the Green Swamp and wherever they might be in Ocala, and they put them on there, and I really appreciate those that do that, because we need to see these deer. And I can recall at least a half a dozen or so hunters that I know that run trail cameras and don't hesitate to send me pictures. And some of the deer that I see on the trail cameras absolutely blow my mind. And when I go back out into the woods and I look at sign, it all makes perfect sense. That the track that I find that's this big that we're calling the phantom buck, right? You saw the phantom buck track. And the scrapes that we see and the rubs that we see, and then we go in our stand and we sit for 8 hours overlooking an area that's got trails in it, and we don't see anything but a couple of does maybe, or a button buck, and we get discouraged. And why is it that way? Why is it that in some places in Sumter County, in some places in Polk County, in some places in Marion County, and Lake County, wherever you live, that the deer behavior changes from area to area. Deer behavior changes big time when you cross the Florida-Georgia line, now doesn't it? I know that firsthand. And that the hunting is so different there than here. And I'm reluctant to call it bad. What I really want to call it is hard, but not impossible. So when I look at some of the land that we hunt in the wilderness, the public land wilderness, where there are no food plots, there are no shooting houses, there are no feeders going off at 9 o'clock in the morning every day for a month. We don't have that on public land here in the state of Florida. And we don't alter the behavior of deer with food. They do on private, but they don't on public. And yeah, that even makes it harder. Because when I look at a green, a thicket of immature pine trees, that you can walk through it, but you certainly really can't see into it. And you see a green that is, let's say it's 25 acres by 35 acres. It's a big cut that they cut, it was 10 years ago, and now it's all grown up. And there are a half a dozen deer inside that thing, and they're buried down in the center, and they may not come out until 2 a.m. Because you look on your trail cameras and you see that all those pictures are early morning darkness pictures. And it's very, very discouraging. It would almost be like finding a grain of sugar or a grain of salt in a shovel full of sugar sand. If you were to sprinkle sugar and salt on a shovel full of sugar sand and mix it all up and say, okay, the sugar and the salt are your deer. And here's the the habitat is a pile of sand. Now find them. And that's why dog hunting is so popular. Those hounds, they don't make mistakes. They know where those deer are. They can smell them, and they wind them, and they trail them, and they jump them, and they run them out. But that's a big area. That deer is only this big, and that area is gigantic, right? So that's what we're facing. I want all of us to know going in that if you hunt public land, and I don't care where it is, I'd be interested in knowing. I had a buddy of mine that went up to Virginia, and he went deer hunting in Virginia, and he was so excited to be going up there. And when he was driving up there, they saw deer on the side of the road in some of the cow pastures and farmland. You could see the deer out there. And then when they got to the hunting area, they saw lots of tracks, but they never saw any deer. He said the first day they were just so excited they got out there in the freezing cold and hunted till like 3 o'clock, and they got back to the cabin there. Nobody saw a deer. I said, well, that sounds like here. And I'd be interested in knowing what it's like where you hunt. What's your experience? And I'm going to continue my process. I'm going to trust the process. I love the outdoors, and I love hunting, and I'll never quit as long as I'm healthy enough to go. And I'll continue to go to the places that are hard, the Green Swamp, and the Withlacoochee State Forest, the Ocala National Forest. I love it, probably because it's connected to my youth, and so many memories up there of friends that have passed, and us going hunting up there, and encounters with black bears, and deer hunts, and the memories go on and on and on and on. And they're treasured memories is what they are. So if you didn't get your deer, you're not alone. And I want to encourage you today and hope that you'll make your plans for next year. And spring gobbler season is coming. Deer season is still open down at Green Swamp, and it's just as hard down there as it is here, but I'm going because I love it. I know in my heart of hearts, there's a buck down in there. He's got a rack this friggin' big, and he's wandering around at 2 a.m., right? But one day, just like 5 years ago, when I killed I'm just going to call him again, noteworthy buck, that if I'm sitting in a tree and he comes by, I'll have a chance. And maybe, just maybe, I'll have that Green Swamp buck of a lifetime. I believe I have the Ocala National Forest buck of a lifetime. And I don't know if I'll ever kill one bigger than that. It really doesn't matter. Because what I'm after is time alone in the wilderness, studying the habits of deer and turkeys and bears and squirrels and birds and rattlesnakes and water moccasins, air plants and cypress trees and cypress knees and flooded timber, flatwoods, prairies, bald eagles, whooping cranes. All of these things that we love so much can't be found sitting at home, taking my camera and doing pictures and doing a slideshow on YouTube. You get half a dozen people that notice and say, man, that's pretty great. And it is. And it's the life that I love and cherish so much. And it's just, I couldn't imagine not doing it, regardless of how hard the hunting is. I hope this message has been an inspiration to you. It comes to you from Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman, all right? We love hunting and fishing and all things connected because it colors everything in our lives. All right, so again, see you guys at True Heart Ranch, February 3rd at the Wild Turkey Extravaganza. Like and comment if you want to. I read all the comments, and I respond to all the comments. I enjoy it so much. All right. Love you guys. Turkey season's coming. Love you. Bye.